The Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California was both hated and loved by fans throughout its existence in the sport. Most fans did not appreciate the track for what it was worth until it was too late. The track had several awesome moments in its history, moments like Jeff Gordon winning the first race at the track, Kyle Busch's first career win, Logano versus Hamlin, and even other moments that may have been forgotten like Reed Sorensen running out of gas late and Elliott Sadler's clutch win in 2004. The 2023 race at Auto Club marked the final race on the 2-mile high-speed oval. Growing up, I always loved this racetrack and wanted to visit it myself. Hearing the news of the downsizing of the track, I figured it was now or never. If I was going to watch the final race on the 2-mile configuration, I wanted it to be special, and thus, I packed my bags, booked my flight, and took the cross-country trip to California for the final 2-mile race. The weekend had a strange atmosphere to it as all weekend it was raining and even snowed in Southern California, postponing the Xfinity race and canceling qualifying for the Cup Series. The starting lineup was set by the metric, so we would see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Christopher Bell lead the field to the final opening green flag on this 2-mile track. But before we can get to the start of this race, let's check in on the epic command given by Michael Rooker, aka Rowdy Burns from Days of Thunder.
NASCAR movie of all time, where he played legendary driver Rowdy Burns in Days of Thunder. Actor Michael Rooker.
Drivers, start your engines!
Alright, so now that all the pre-race festivities are out of the way and the 5-wide salute has taken place, let's bring you down for the start of this race. But I want you to feel like you were there like I was, so enjoy this opening lap.
Number 4, that Toyota Camry pace vehicle is going to duck onto pit road. Here they come down for the start. Christopher Bell and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. side by side in row number 1. He had a brief advantage running that middle group, but here comes Christopher Bell. Now Joey Logano makes it 3 wide for the lead. Goes all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. There's Joey Logano on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. near contact as they navigate those bumps halfway up the back straightaway. Everybody's okay. By the time they get to turn number 3, the outside lane prevails and Christopher Bell. Well, it was down there in turns 1 and 2, 3 wide at the top of the green flag there.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would go from first to dropping like a rock through the field in the opening laps. Alex Bowman, who started fourth, would take the lead and begin to click off laps early. Bowman was the 2020 winner at Auto Club and considered to be one of the favorites early on. Another one of the favorites, the winner of the previous Auto Club race, was Kyle Larson. Early on, he would experience electrical issues and have to bring the car to pit road, and this would ultimately end his race before it got started. Larson would get back on track, but he was several laps down. NASCAR would then throw a competition caution around lap 15 for teams to adjust, and this was because of the weather delay that changed the track the day before. The field got back to green flag racing, and we saw a new player at the front of the field. Ross Chastain would surge ahead of Alex Bowman heading into turn 1 and would take Joey Logano with him, and Alex Bowman would lose the lead. Chastain was another driver who was going to be strong throughout the day. Early on in stage 1, we would see cars spreading out throughout all the grooves in this racetrack, and cars were going 3 and even 4 wide, lap after lap for every position throughout the field. The next-gen car and the worn-out racing surface really were a match made in heaven. A few laps later, under a commercial break, Penske teammates Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano would overtake Ross Chastain, putting themselves in the 1 and 2 positions. The first caution for Kaz would come out a few laps later when Brad Keselowski would spin down the backstretch. At first it looked like he lost it on his own, but replay would show he had help from Corey LaJoie. The race got back underway and the field immediately spread out to 3, 4, and even 5 wide entering turn 1. The Penske parade at the front quickly became a trackhouse train as both trackhouse cars went to the 1 and 2 positions. The field would spread out and mellow out as they raced until the end of the first stage. I want to show you guys how it actually looks and feels when these cars are flying by at 200 miles per hour. It just doesn't get any better than that. It's a different feeling in person and feeling that speed. Ross Chastain would go on to win the opening stage, and another notable thing was the amount of dirt and dust that was spreading over the front ends of all the cars. The second stage got underway with a new player at the front of the field. Denny Hamlin would get a huge push and take the lead, while the rest of the field battled it out for positions. A few laps later, Joey Logano would take the lead from Hamlin, and then our next caution would occur when AJ Allmendinger would crash and hit the inside wall. Once again, Corey LaJoie caused the incident, and he was 2 for 2 with wrecking other cars in this race. The field would come down to pit, and we would see an issue for Martin Truex Jr. as he would not have his wheel fastened securely. On the following restart, we would see some underdogs lead the field in Ryan Preece and Noah Gragson. Gragson would grab the lead heading down the backstretch, but it wouldn't last long as Joey Logano would pass him a lap later and retake the lead. A few laps later, Corey LaJoie would spin out and be the cause of caution for the third time in some sort of way. On the following restart, we would see a massive stack up. Multiple cars would get bunched up and crash in the restart zone. Ryan Blaney was in it, and this would ultimately derail his day. This was one of the races where NASCAR attempted to extend the restart zone, but they quickly realized that it would cause more harm than good and got rid of that rule a few races later. And of course, I got this wreck on video.
300 tonight in Minneapolis, Eastern.
The race got back underway, and once again the field fanned out to 3, 4, and even 5 wide. We saw intense racing on every restart, and then on the following laps we would see that same intense racing continue. Ross Chastain would grab the lead back and begin to drive away from the field, but we had a great battle for second place in the remaining laps of the second stage. Multiple cars would battle it out, and you really saw this worn out racetrack on display each time these cars were battling for position. Ross Chastain would go on to win the second stage, sweeping the first 2 stages, and he really looked like the car to beat. The final stage got underway with Kyle Busch now in command of the field, as he had a great pit stop and beat the one off pit road. We saw California's Kevin Harvick battling for the lead for a brief moment, but Busch would gain the advantage and take the top spot away. Austin Cindric would tag the wall hard after contact with another car, and then we would see Ty Dillon's car come to a stop on the apron, leading to another caution. Once again, Busch and Harvick would lead the field to the green flag, and then we would immediately see Ross Chastain take them 3 wide for the lead. Chastain would get back out front but would not pull away as Kyle Busch would roll around on the outer groove and take the lead back. But then heading into turn 3, Ross Chastain would battle back, pulling Joey Logano along, and both would pass Busch in turn 1, and at first he looked like he would fall through the field a bit as the one would take the lead, and now it seemed like he would set sail. But then wait, Kyle Busch would roll the bottom and go 4 wide to second. In 2 laps, we had guys going from the lead back to 5th and then back to 2nd and vice versa. We just had cars running in every groove, and this racetrack and this race in general really just had some incredible racing all around, even with the guys who were battling out throughout the pack. Chastain and Busch would begin to put a little bit of gap on the rest of the field, and then Kyle Busch would make his move on Ross Chastain. He would retake the lead right before both would come down pit road for the final stop of the race, and they were right on top of each other. But Busch would get the advantage leaving pit road and begin to pull away from Chastain. Kyle would begin to click off laps in an attempt to win at the final race at this 2-mile configuration, which was the track that gave him his first career win. Chase Elliott would mount a late charge for second place, but it would not be enough as Kyle Busch would cruise around for the final few laps, riding the top of the groove of the worn surface and coming to the checkered flag for his first win with RCR. And let me tell you, when he got out of that car, there were a lot more cheers and there were no boos.
And Rowdy Nation loves it.
And just like that, you had a fitting end to this speedway. Although some say this will become a short track, I don't think it'll ever produce the atmosphere and intensity that this layout did with the next-gen car. It was awesome for Kyle Busch to win there, and it seemed like a fitting win. As I previously mentioned, this track gave him his first win back in 2005, and it all came full circle in the end. So what did you guys think of the final 2-mile race at Auto Club? Did you enjoy it or not? Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.